Good day, YouTubers. Thanks for joining me. This is video 29 in my series of videos on Ontario Northland models and HO, and today we're taking a look at Athearn Genesis SD75's. So there have been a few different production runs of these over the years, and I'm a little bit foggy on the first few production runs. What I do know is I've got unit 2100 and 2105 here from the first production run that came out when I was in my late teens, early 20s, I believe. And subsequent to that, there was either one or two runs somewhere between 2006 and 2009. And then there's a run that just happened late 2019, early 2020. So starting with the earliest locomotives here. Now, these were delivered in bright yellow Athearn Genesis boxes. Unfortunately, I don't have one of those to show you, as I think mine disappeared many years ago. Now, while one of the earlier Athearn Genesis introductions, this locomotive still came largely as a kit, where you still had to do a lot of the detailed assembly components. So you had to apply the handrails, and you had to apply all the grab irons and everything. That's one of the reasons you can see here that these are just, a raw wire metal. I obviously didn't get around to painting those, as I probably should have back in the day, but I'm not a very accomplished modeler. That's definitely not my forte, is the application of fine bits there. And a bit of wear and tear through multiple moves and such. I seem to be missing a few windshield wiper applications and such. So thankfully the more recent productions here have helped me fill out my fleet. Now, one of the inaccuracies with this production run and all but the most recent production run are the locations of the horns on the long hood here. This has it kind of central in where we've got a depression here on the long hood. It in reality is mounted more towards the back. Otherwise, it does seem to be a fairly good, accurate representation of what the locomotives would have looked like, or do look like, I guess I should say. Only other item where we're lacking some accuracy is that these handrails and such are actually painted white, but that is corrected on the subsequent models. So that first production run, I know that it included unit numbers 2100 and 2105 because that's what I have here. I do not know if there was a subsequent unit number. The second or third production run is represented by my unit 2101 here. So again, largely the same as the previous unit, but built up as a ready-to-run model, unlike the previous release. And the color of the handrails and such in the front have all been corrected to a yellow or white color. And all of the grab irons have been pre-installed as a white painted part. Just like the previous iteration, a good-looking locomotive. They did a good job capturing the paint scheme and all the micro printing and such. It looks great. I am aware of unit numbers 2103 and 2104 that were likely also produced by that same production run. And the final production run here. So taking a look at unit 2104, again they've repeated the road number here on this most recent production run. Again, largely the same as the previous models, but they seem to have done a better job with some micro detailing of some of the mirrors and such around the cab window. And they have corrected for the placement of the horn here on the top of the hood, so it is more towards the rear end. And otherwise still very similar as compared to the previous locomotive, but a good and solid representation. So they've produced road numbers 2104, 2102, and then 2105 in this final production run. But 2105 they have produced in a repaint paint scheme in which the cab is repainted to a much lighter shade of yellow, and it's had this very interesting kind of safety chevron pattern applied to the nose of the locomotive, which I think looks really sharp. So really a good looking locomotive, and absolutely representative of that interior Northland repaint. So a good job in regards to capturing the prototypical accuracy here. And I will drop this unit onto the tracks so that we can take a look at running characteristics. So a nice startup sequence there as soon as you drop it onto the rails. I did lower the volume here from what was from the level at which it was delivered from the factory. It's actually only at 20% of the volume at which it came out of the box with. I always find these locomotives just to be a hair too deafening. So running it up here a little bit, and this locomotive hasn't had any break-in time, so it's still a tad bit jerky. But I'm sure that'll smooth out with time. Turning on the headlights here. And for whatever reason, when you turn on the ditch lights, it seems to kill the prime mover engine noise. So maybe a little bit of a glitch there, but easy enough to turn that back on. So a good sounding locomotive, but maybe just a hair jerky at current. I'm sure that'll smooth it out nicely. So thank you for joining me today. I will leave it at that. But first, I know that a lot of people like looking at the boxes, so I should do that before I end the video here. So Athearn Genesis. We're all used to seeing that symbol by now. That second release of locomotives was delivered in a box that appeared like this. So this was the unit 2101 that I showed you. The previous release had a similar looking, or similar size of box anyway, but somewhat bright yellow in color. And the most recent release, again, same blue style Athearn Genesis box, but this time they've applied one of their color stickers to the end of the box showing exactly the road number and paint scheme. So did a nice job packaging up these locomotives. A nice, good, firm, protective box. So thank you for joining me for yet another video, and I'll look to have another one up very soon. Thank you.